Welcome, my crafty friends. For those of you wanting to learn how to make a fun fold with a pop-up surprise inside, this video is for you. You won't need any special machines. You'll just need a stamp set with some sentiments, some adhesive, and cardstock. That's it. You're gonna cut a piece of strawberry slush base at 11 inches by 4 1/4. Now, we're gonna score this. You're gonna score it at 4 1/4, scoot it on up, and then at 5 1/2. On this particular trimmer, I've got a cutting blade, but then I also have a scoring blade. So this is gonna save you time and save you money by having 2 blades on one machine. Then I want you to take a piece of designer series paper and you're gonna cut this at 6 by 6. This actually comes as 6 by 6. This is our 2025, 2027 in color series. So I took one of these and I'll show you what to do with it in a minute. Then Florals in Bloom, you're gonna cut one at 4 by 4 and the next one 4 by 1. And here's how pretty these all look. They're great, don't you think? So there you go, I chose this one for us. Then I want you to cut, this is all still part of step 1, all you're cutting, a piece of basic white at 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. Then strawberry slush again to match the base. You're gonna have a little strip and this is gonna be 4 1/4 by 1 inch. Double checking my math there. 4 by 3/4, 4 by 3/4. So this is your step 1. Do you want next week's measurements so you can craft along with me next week? Let me know so I can email you with next week's measurements. Are you ready for step 2? I want you to fold your card in half and now it's gonna be 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. And then watch, once we adhere it down, it's gonna open like this. So you are making, this is called a book binding fold, a book binding fun fold, but we're gonna add the pop-up surprise inside. So let's see what we're gonna do next. Let's do a little decorating. I think what I'd like to do is start with my strip. Let me make sure, yep, that's how it goes. So I'm gonna get some of our glue. And we're gonna adhere this part down. Just make sure you have the same amount of edges. Let's do glue. Here's the trick. Start away from the edge because the blob comes out and drag it to the points. And then with the tip, just push around your glue. Just push it around. Less is more. And put a bunch of globs in the middle if you want. But we feel like we need so much glue and we really don't. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? All right, so we've got our pretty on the outside for now. All right, the next step, we're gonna add some ribbon. So you're gonna put it on the inside of your card. Make sure it's flat and it's not twisted up like that, okay? So we want it flat. And what I've done so that when we put it in the envelope, it's not gonna be overly big, I'm going to just do a knot versus tying a bow. Because we're gonna have the pop-up, we're gonna have the fun fold, and if we add a knot or add a bow, it's just gonna be pretty dang thick. All right, I'm making sure my ribbon is kind of centered right over that 1 inch. Do you know how to tie a square knot? I'm acting like you do. Right over left, so it's crossed in front, tuck it under, and then use a finger to hold that flat and still, and then left over right. So the left part then comes right over the right side. Now this, you're just gonna manipulate it a little bit just to make sure it's flat and cute on the top. Now you could, this is too long for my taste, probably for yours too. You can do a couple things. You could cut it at an angle or you could do a banner cut. Here's how you do a banner. Fold your ribbon in half. Your fold is on top. You're gonna come from the bottom, this is so important, and cut at an angle, and that forms the very pretty angle, which I call the banner. So we're gonna do it again, just so you can see, and so you know. Fold your ribbon in half, the bottom edges are touching. The important part is you come from the bottom of your ribbon up, and then cut at an angle. Otherwise, it's gonna be, you're gonna have a point instead of an angle. And that's okay, just recut it if that happens, no big deal. Now, this is what the inside looks like. So what I'm gonna do to give it a little extra strength is come in with some tear and tape. You can use your glue. I'm just gonna use a little tear and tape, and then yes, I'm gonna use some glue as well. I'm gonna burnish that down, come in with my Take-A-Pick, and pick off the little cellophane that sits right on top of that adhesive. Then I'm gonna add some glue. I'm gonna put some glue a little bit under my ribbon because I want that to lay flat and not fight against my fold, you know? Okay, put my glue back in its holder. And now I'm gonna close everything up. And I'm gonna burnish that down again because I wanna make sure it's nice and flat and glued appropriately. Now, holding it down just so I don't rip it open, that's how your card is gonna open. And this is why it's called the book binding fold. Cute? You could stop right here if you want. We're going to, in this video, add a pop-up surprise. So let's put this to the side for a hot minute. Bring in your 6x6 paper, and that again is this one. And then the one I used earlier is the Florals in Bloom for the outside. So this one, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do some fun folds. We're gonna fold it in half so that the edges match each other. So what is that, 3 inches? Now open it back up and fold it the opposite way, 3 inches. So now you've got a square. You've got 4 squares and a cross in the middle. Now, here's the secret to success. I want you to fold it on the diagonal, make sure your points are touching, and then come back and give it a crease. And that's all you're gonna do for your fun fold. But the other trick, I want my flowers to open on the inside, so whatever side you want to show on the inside of your card, make sure that is the side that's facing you. Now you see this fold, you've got the square, but you got this fold. We wanna bring that, you see how I'm bending it towards the middle, towards the inside? So go ahead and pretend you're closing it or gonna make a little 3-dimensional stand-up guy. So fold that in nicely, and you're gonna repeat that on this other side. So you're gonna push this fold. Can you see that fold that wants to fold out? We're gonna push it in. And sometimes mine gets stuck right there, so just come in with your fingernail and give it just force it into place. And now, see how it's coming and it looks like that? So fold it up, now you got a nice little square. Let's burnish it down just to get it used to having all its own folds. And now it's gonna open like this. What? That is so cute. That is the base and the basic and the inside of your pop-up fold. The next step, we're gonna do some stamping. I told you you're gonna need a sentiment stamp. I'm using Simply Said, and look at all these nice sentiments. A nice versatility you've got from birthday to thinking of you to thank you, miss you, hello, just a note. So a nice variety. This would give you a good bang for your buck, in my humble opinion, because look how many holidays you're doing and using with that one stamp set. Now here's a trick, and I did this wrong, so here's how I know how to tell you what to do. One, you're gonna need a little padding because this is a polymer stamp. There's no built-in padding, so we need a little bitty bit of padding, and I'm bringing in my Silicone Craft Sheet. Now, this basic white's gonna fit nicely and centered in that square, so it's gonna be hidden, surprise. So we wanna make sure this stamp is on the diagonal, okay? And to emphasize and drive the point home, let me tell you what I didn't do. The first time I did not do that. So guess what? That's how I know to tell you how to do it correctly. Beautiful. So let's go ahead. I'm going to, while I have my ink out, stamp on my white. So this says, let's celebrate. So isn't that perfect for birthday wishes? Let's celebrate. All right. So just kind of line her up, center it, hold it in place. Firm pressure without wiggling, all right? Just firm pressure, 2-3 seconds, lift straight up, and there you go. I will tell you, if you're brand new to stamping, stamping takes practice, so give yourself some grace, be patient with yourself, practice on some scrap paper. To this day, I will, for the most part, even on camera, typically, I will stamp as a practice because it shows you, am I giving it enough pressure, not enough pressure, la, la, la. And it just helps you a little bit know exactly when and where. All right, so this is gonna get centered down onto your strip. All right, step 3, we've done our stamping, so now we are gonna adhere the stamped strip down to the, okay, that's not centered at all. There we go. This is why I like glue so much, you guys. 1, it's very affordable, but 2, it's very good. And 3, I was able to correct my mistake that it wasn't centered, so that I really like. Now, let's adhere this down in place onto our pop-up surprise. So remember the glue, we start off away from the edge because the minute you squeeze your bottle, this big old hairy blob is gonna come out of your glue bottle, and blobs aren't cute. So now you're gonna have a little bit of a margin on all 4 sides, and you want that, all right? You want that. Here we go. And this is also where you're gonna write your love note or, you know, love Aunt Dawn, grandma, whatever your little sentiment is gonna say. So let me bring my card back. I think I'd like to do my decoration first. And again, you could pop this up with dimensionals, but because we're doing the surprise element, our little pop-up surprise, I'm gonna do this flat because I really would like us not to have too many raised elements on the card because we've got our knot. And can you see this is loose? I do that on purpose. I really like that look. It's all adhered flat on the inside of the card. Now we're gonna open it up because we're gonna put our surprise inside. I do use the tear-in tape, there it is, on the bottom of where the sentiment is stamped on the other side. I feel like it just gives it a little weight. And tear-in tape is literally that. It's tape that is so strong, it's gonna hold what you have in place, yet it's weak enough you can tear it with your fingers. All right, so I'm gonna adhere the bottom down first. So you wanna line it up, the edges, and this is gonna be as close to the inside right there. What would you call that? I'm gonna call it a score line seam right up here at the top. You want it as close as humanly possible. So right now it opens, but we have to adhere this flat. So what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna do quite as much tear-in tape. We don't really need it. I want it on the bottom because the bottom's stronger. It has a little more weight, and then the lid lifts up. I am gonna add some glue, you guys. Let's start in the middle. So I'm gonna hold it closed a little bit and just close our card, and then hello, closed. There's our surprise. Is this precious? You've got the book bind, fun fold, and then the element of a surprise inside. I am gonna add some bling. Guess why? Because we can, and because it's so stinking beautiful. It is the matchy in colors. Ugh. I may just put one on this one because our cardstock's so pretty. So Darling Duck is here, and look, they all have the surprise inside. Do you love it? All right, with these colors, we've got the Darling Duck, the Strawberry Slush, and the Timid Tiger. And then again, with your Pretty Designer Series paper, all the supplies I used today will be found on my online store. I'll put the link below for you. And please remember me when you're shopping for your craft supplies. I'd appreciate it. Now, I want you to remember to go boop, hit the like button if you liked the video, if you learned something new. I want you to come back for the rest next week of my how-to video series. I want you to tell me your favorite color or tell me the favorite aspect that you liked with this video, with the fun fold that you learned, and especially the pop-up surprise. And I also want you to remember me when you're shopping for craft supplies. Thanks for watching, you guys. Bye now.